Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to my weekly Scripture for Thoughts video show. I'm up here in West 41st Street and Bryant Park, Manhattan, New York City, where everybody works hard, hustle the wise way, do a down payment of investments, be all clean and spiffy, all up in West 41st Street and Bryant Park, Manhattan, New York City. Now, I'm the host of the most, Reverend preacher Mnhtn Walker. Now, the sermon topic I'm going to preach about is, while you give God's message, do not do it for favor, do not do it for recognition. Do it to serve all types of people. Throughout time and space and time, when God gives a word to God's prophets and said, preach to the masses of people, some do it out of favoritism and recognition. Those do it to help others get to be closer to God. Those help those to help do miraculous things by God. Now, my first example is my first example. Oh, by the way, let me let you know my Christianity update. Today, I invite 168 people to church, yet nobody took my flyer, but that's right, to God be the glory. God's going to wrote me on a miraculous story. And now, I have this story. This is part one of Jehoiada the priest and Josiah the 8-year-old king. One day, when Josiah was born, they had Josiah the new king in, and Jehoiada the priest. He had read the book of the Bible, the book of the law, and he rounded everybody up, and he saw everybody do like false teachings of Balaam practices and ostrich pose. Then he rounded up the people with the righteous soldiers, and he killed all the believers, all the Balaam practice believers. And then after that, then Josiah prayed to God, said, I'm doing this not for recognition for myself. I'm doing this to serve all types of people. So he take the queen. So he take the evil queen, the evil mother queen, Attila, and killed her because she proven into false prophecies, false practices of the Balaam teachings and the astral toes. Then after that, Jehoiada the priest had announced Josiah, the 8-year-old, whose father got killed by conspiracy of leadership, that Jehoiada the priest put Josiah, king of Judah. He was like only but 8 years old. Now, Jehoiada the priest, he did this to serve all types of people. He did not do that for favoritism or recognition. That's one example of why you give God's message, do not do this out of recognition, do this to serve all types of people. And now, my second example is Jesus and the Pharisees. While he was selling his after he finished telling the parable of the shrewd manager. Now the Pharisees was listening to Jesus, and they was mad at him and gave him an attitude look and smirk and frown at him. And then Jesus said to the Pharisees, the false religious group, God detests everything that you do that you highly favor. What is honorable among men is detestable in God's sight. And then the Pharisees had an attitude. They was angry, smacked their teeth, and wanted to frown at Jesus, but they knew Jesus was right. And Jesus gave this testimony after he gave in the book of Luke, chapter 16, verse 14 to 16. Now that's my second example. Jesus and the Pharisees in Luke chapter 16. Now that's my second example of when you give God's message, don't do this out of recognition, do this out of serving all types of people. Now my third example is Nehemiah. Of course, Nehemiah was a follower of God. That he was like a soldier. He was like a follower of God. One day he gave money and food to the poor, and he fed the poor very well. And then everybody commended Nehemiah. Now Nehemiah, he did not look for a reward or a high position in the king's castle, or look for high positions in the crowds of people. He served the poor, to serve all types of people, to bring people to God. That is Nehemiah. Nehemiah is the third example of why you give God's message. Do not do this out of recognition. Do this out of serving all types of people. And now my last example. Yes, my last example. Now my last example is when Paul preached in Ephesus about when you serve people, do not argue against the people that you serve. Always serve gently and treat everybody with respect and treat everybody kindly when you serve people. And I believe it's the book of Ephesians, I believe. And now, my fourth and last example was Paul preaches this lesson about when you serve people, do not argue at the people that you serve, but gently instruct people, gently treat people nice and respectable, and serve them with love, understanding, and care. Now, here's my conclusion. Whenever the next time when a church leader, a preacher, a church leader, a minister, pastor, reverend, or archbishop tell you to preach in the pulpit for recognition and grossing it into selfish fame and worship and deeply conceited ways, you know what you tell that leader? This was practiced in all the churches. They do favoritism, and they teach the people that preach on the pulpit as a guest to take it for recognition, which is not right. And now, here's my conclusion of the story. Whenever a minister or pastor or reverend or archbishop asks you to preach on the pulpit for recognition, for worldly gain, for selfishness, or for vain conceit, you know what you tell that leader? You tell that leader, hey, when I give God's message, I'm not going to do that for recognition. I'm going to do that to serve all types of people. Now, as for West 41st Street and Bryant Park, Manhattan, New York City, where everybody works hard, hustle the wise way, do adopt public investments, be all clean and spiffy, open West 41st Street, Bryant Park, Manhattan, New York City. Now, as for my weekly Scripture for Thoughts video show, a Manhattan special, I'm the host of most, Reverend preacher, Mnhtn, you want to say, Baba, so under that time for rap.